evening, everyone. Welcome to the SMMT Annual Dinner for 2024. It's not been quite the day I expected. Never mind, we'll move on. I'm pleased to say that despite the tough times, this is actually our second largest or best attended dinner ever. Exactly. Now, there is something to be said for when times are tough. Maybe we should all have a drink, and I think it's probably a good night for it. But times are tough, very tough. We've seen announcements globally of production cuts, profit warnings, job losses, and the UK was never going to be immune. Announcement last week and regrettably today are not just a sobering reminder of the challenges the industry faces, but most importantly, a worrying and grave concern to the livelihoods of so many. But we've been here before. Many of you know we were founded in 1902. We've seen 2 world wars, the Depression, banking crisis, Brexit, COVID, even Liz Truss. We've survived them all, almost, perhaps a bit longer than the lettuce. But let's not bask in the warm glow of nostalgia, not when there's Donald Trump to congratulate on his return to the White House. And as David Lammy said in the lift up to the Gold Suite in Trump Tower, let's hope he didn't actually hear that one. Neither of them are with us tonight, but I'm delighted to say that we're joined by both the Secretary of State for Business and Trade, the Right Honourable Johnny Reynolds, and the Department for Transport Minister Lillian Greenwood, among many other distinguished guests, and everyone is indeed welcome. Now, SMMT has long made the case for a partnership with government to deliver a long-term industrial strategy with automotive at its heart. And as you've seen today, we need it now more than ever. So, Secretary of State, you've started us on that journey. Thank you very much indeed. But there is something you should know. We also said thank you to Peter Mandelson when he returned from Brussels and launched what he called industrial activism. We said thank you to Vince Cable when his ideas of industrial strategy were leaked. And we said thank you to Greg Clark when he offered a partnership until he ran out of partners around the cabinet table. This time, we hope there'll be no more false starts, because the prize on offer for the UK is great: £50 billion of growth, green growth, over the next decade. And we will always look to that opportunity. But to grasp that prize, you must make it easier for manufacturers to build here and to sell what they build here at a time of fundamental global market transformation. Build it and they will come. Actually, that's not from Kevin Costner's Field of Dreams. It's from the Old Testament, Noah's Ark, in fact. But we need fresher thinking that. At this pivotal moment, we need an urgent review of the market and the regulation intended to drive it. Not because we want to water down any commitments, because we've already made those commitments. Billions of pounds invested in the UK's electric car offering, taking it from 16 models a few years ago to 125. Electric vans from nothing to over 30 now. And in services to support, repair, remanufacture, recycle. It's colossal investment, the result of decisions taken years ago, decisions taken to address climate change. Now, many consumers have bought into that vision. Many more have not yet. We must persuade them. But that persuasion is very, very expensive. £4 billion in incentives to private and business buyers in the UK alone this year. Those are unsustainable amounts. And that's before you add in the potential cost and penalties of about £1.8 billion. The fact is, we are building them, but they aren't coming in sufficient numbers to buy. We cannot incentivize that market on our own. If the Department of Health wanted people to eat more broccoli, mandating farmers, and Minister, you'll know about farmers, they're Jeremy Clarkson's new pals, mandating farmers to grow more and supermarkets to stock more wouldn't actually encourage consumers to buy more and eat more. That approach means that rather than celebrating the tenfold increase in EV sales we've had, we get negative headlines about missed targets, and that's totally understandable. When the mandate was conceived, the world was very different, economically and geopolitically, and times have changed, not necessarily for the better. The cheaper raw materials we expected have not come to pass, nor the lower interest rates, nor the cheaper energy. As a result, we expect to sell 116,000 fewer electric vehicles this year alone than when the mandate was announced. And no one wants that. Not us, not government, not the charging sector. They need EVs on the road, not a notional share of a constrained market. They need their reassurance to preserve the £6 billion investment through to 2030. We agree with that. But the mandate could cost us $6 billion this year alone. No wonder the industry is hurting. Profitability hit, investment in jeopardy, viability at risk. Jobs, as we are seeing, are on the line. So when the world changes, so must we. Help us give consumers the reason to buy, turn that doubt into enthusiasm, so that, unlike in Noah's time, the consumers are lining up deeper than 2 by 2. So yes, let's build, but help them to come. And as indeed, as Kevin Costner might have heard, please, government, help ease our pain. Workable regulation, backed with incentives, will set us up for success, not failure. Because failure is not a word we recognize. We much prefer innovation, investment, growth. And of course, Secretary of State, Ministers, partnership. Thank you very much. Now, before we move on, let's look back at that year we've just had and reflect on why this industry matters so much.
In the last year, the UK automotive sector has attracted a remarkable amount of inward investment, more than £20 billion committed to zero-emission vehicle battery production and vehicle production. Government and Britain has the opportunity to move forward.
With Labour's plan to turbocharge our EV transition, the opportunities are clear for all to see.
The huge potential of artificial intelligence and basing systems increasingly on artificial intelligence is the ability to generalize and make decisions much more like humans.
There's certainly a renaissance and there's certainly an appeal behind British products.
Globally, we're going to launch 30 vehicles within the next 3 years, of which 16 of those will be pure electric.
We have to invest in exactly the right segment. We have to focus and invest there, and then we can scale it to all the market.
A successful UK economy relies on a successful auto industry.
People understand that the British supply a quality product out there in the market.
It is only through using the best talents and the widest pool of people that we'll be the most competitive industry globally.
I think it's been an absolute dream because I've seen so many things that a regular person doesn't see, how we're going to push forward to make sure that we're meeting our targets to hit net zero.
We are making sure that sustainability runs through everything we do. When we source our material, during the design phase, at the production facilities, how we work with sales, the in-use phase, and what happens after that.
Supply chain transparency is probably the most difficult and probably the most important thing that we could be looking at in this space. We need to make sure that we really do understand where our components come from.
SMMT provides a forum in which we can be educated about the changes that are coming and allows us to plan for those changes.
The future of mobility looks very bright. All the key stakeholders are all sharing the same vision.
Battery electric is absolutely part of the future. We're rolling out new models all the time, but we're also investing in hydrogen fuel cell.
It's actually a really exciting time to be in the industry and we've got this much change and the pace of change. You name it, there's innovations everywhere.
At this time of unprecedented change and fierce global competition, having a single, unified voice for our industry has never been as critical.